Okay, we're on. We're live. Thank God. We're alive. Okay, 25 Adar Rishon. Okay, Hashienu. This little paragraph we say after each Tilim, each and every day. So he tells us a halacha that after we say that Tilim for each of the day, the song of the day, we say the paragraph Hashienu, Shabbos, festivals, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. I'm not sure what he's telling us, honestly. I mean, there don't seem to be any exceptions. And I don't know why you would think there might be. So I don't know what the message is, but it's a good message. That's what it says, right? Save us from all the goyim, all the forces. The goyim, in many places we've talked about, it's brought in even in Tanya. Instead of goyim, it says oy de gelulim, the idol worshippers, because goyim was too broad, because it was a deprecation of the goyim in general. But it means anything that's not on the side of kedusha. Save us, please, from that. And it's apparently worth saying this every day, every moment. Min hametza, take us out of the boundedness. Okay, with that, let's ask Hashem to take anyone who needs refuah shlema out of the boundedness and distress of sickness. Who needs refuah shlema?
Amen. Menachem Yehuda Nisan ben Rezel Tzivia and Dina Kolka Bat Yehudit.
Refuah shlema b'koreh.
And Elka Rachel Bas Eliza, Baruch Ben Yamin Ben Rachel Blima, Yehudis Golda Bas Eliza Hana, and Chava Daniela Bas Naomi Hana.
Refuah shlema b'koreh to all of them. Anybody else? Okay, lessons in Tanya. We're continuing what we started yesterday, Perek Lamed Beis, the heart of Tanya, the power of Ahavas Yisroael, which we're going to extend a little bit today, the power of Ahavas Yisroael, starting in Lessons in Tanya on page 424. Yep, 424 in the middle of the page. And Likutei Moharan, page Mem Aleph, a little bit down from the bottom, from the top, a little bit up from the bottom of the page. So you're counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the principle of Ahavas Yisroael is founded on the principle that the Alter Rebbe had been expounding before Lamed Beis, of making the soul the main focus and not the body. That the body, of course, is used and should be used as a chariot, a stallion, a servant of the Nefesh Elokis. But the main focus of our entire moment-to-moment existence should be on exactly that, to utilize the Nefesh Elokis. And when the focus is on the Nefesh Elokis, then we'll go forward from here. And if the focus is on the Nefesh Elokis, then we can understand what Hillel HaZaken said. And what did Hillel HaZaken say? Rabbi Hillel said, and here we start. V'zeh Omar Hillel HaZaken. With the focus on the Nefesh Elokis, we can understand what Hillel HaZaken said, Al Kiyam Mitzvah Zu, on the fulfillment of this mitzvah of loving everyone as yourself, or as he actually expressed it in the Gemara, that which is hateful to another, do not do. That which is hateful to yourself, do not do to another. We can understand this when the heretic came to Hillel and asked to be converted, or the non-Jew, I don't know if he was a heretic. The non-Jew came to Hillel and asked to be converted, and asked, what do I need? What do I need to do this? He said this principle. Yahavtas Hashem Elokecha. No, he said, you should love your friend as yourself. That which is hateful in another person, that which is hateful to you, do not do to others. And he said the following words, Zehu kol haTorah. This is the entire Torah. So the Alter Rebbe is now in a very short way explaining an implicit question here. If you said this, the whole thing is love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, love is the outcome of the midah of chesed, kindness, and chesed is the kav, the side from which emerges all the positive mitzvahs aseh, the mitzvahs to do. But it's not the side from which emerges the mitzvahs lois aseh, the negatives. They come from gevura. So how is Ahavas Yisroael, how is Ava a manner by which you can mekayim, fulfill the entire Torah, mitzvahs aseh and mitzvahs lois aseh? That's the implicit question here. Be implied by bezeh kol haTorah, love of another as yourself fulfills the entire Torah, kulu, entirely. He said the third expression is zehu kol haTorah kulu. This is the entirety of the Torah. Ve'idach pirusha, and the rest is just explanation. So the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroael is the root of fulfilling the entire Torah, mitzvahs aseh as well as mitzvahs lois aseh. And he explains, how is that? The Alter Rebbe is explaining. Ki yisoid b'shoresh kol haTorah, because the foundation and the root of the entire Torah, meaning mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs lois aseh, hi lahagbiya ulahales hanefesh ala guf. The whole principle, the whole mechanism, the whole approach to Torah, right side, left side, mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs lois aseh, is to elevate the soul over the body, right? And that's what you're doing in Yahavta Kamocha. You're not looking at the physical instantiation of this thing, and you're not being tied to the differences amongst people. You're looking at the sameness of people, which is something that you can't see with your naked eye, but which is there underneath, which is their relationship and the devekus in God. So if you have that perspective, and you're raising up your perspective from the physical into the godly, lahagbiya, la'ales hanefesh alaguf, to raise up the soul perspective over the bodily perspective, maila, and you raise that perspective up. You get so deep into that perspective that you think and contemplate the origin of the soul itself, up and up in its highest levels, ad ikor v'shorsha, until its very source and root, the kol olmin of all worlds. And that's your perspective. That's what you're looking at in your daily life. You're looking at each instantiation of differentiation and differences which appear on the lower level as simply wonderful manifestations. We talked about it yesterday, different facets of one jewel, and each of us together and all of us inclusively bring out as a facet in a jewel. That was the mushal I put on the table. Like a facet in the jewel brings out a stronger and stronger light, and your focus is on strengthening the light and your experience of the light at its source, at the source of all worlds. And also, when you do that, your arousal from below, which is now focused on the source of all life at its root and source, causes Gam also to draw down that source of light from the infinite light, blessed be He, Bik Knesset Yisroel, into the source of all Jewish souls, which is Malchus of Atzilus. So this is the principle: arousal from below affects an arousal from above. If we operate on the perspective of focus on the nefesh elokis, which every single one of us have a nefesh elokis, which is rooted in a singular source, the source of all nefoshes, the source of all souls, that arouses a flow from the source of all souls down into Knesset Yisroel, which is Malchus of Atzilus, which becomes Malchus, of course, is the source of all the worlds from Atzilus on down. So this is bringing, in plain English, Geula light down into Gullus darkness through our focus on the Nefesh Elokis. And acting in accord with that focus. As will be explained later. The Hainu. So what does it mean to focus on drawing down, on raising up, and therefore causing the drawing down of the light of the infinite one into Knesset Yisroel? It means b'mokar neshamas. You're drawing down light into the source of neshamas kol Yisroel, into the source of all Jewish souls. So he's defining here what I kind of already said. Knesset Yisroel, when you hear that expression, the gathering place of all the Jewish people, it's talking about Malchus of Atzilus, which is the source of all Jewish souls. That the source of all Jewish souls should become one with the singular oneness of Hashem, Dafka. And this doesn't happen, this Geula light, this singular light, this light from the Or Ein Sof, which penetrates and overcomes the appearance of darkness and the other side and the coarseness of things. This doesn't happen when there's any separation amongst neshama. This is why Ahavas Yisroael, right? The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam, and it will be rebuilt because of Ahavas Yisroael. And the Beis Hamikdash is what? It's the repository in this physical world and the revealed presence in this physical world of the revelation of the Shekhinah. So, and the opposite of that causes separation amongst the souls. The Kutchabrichu, and this is an expression from the Zohar. The Zohar says that the Holy One, blessed be He, Loi Sharia Be'aser Pagam, cannot dwell in a blemished place where there's no wholeness. And it says, Borcheinu Avinu Kolonu Ke'echad. This is what the last bracha in Shimon Esrei. Borcheinu Avinu, bless us, our Father, Kulonu, all of us, Ke'echad, with what? In other words, when we are in a state of oneness, Kulonu Be'echad, in a state of oneness, then there will be blessed, there will be drawn down the Or Panecha, the light of your panemius, of your face, as written in another place at length. That's today's time. Mm-hmm.
Avi, can you go over that last bracha in Shemon Esrei again?
Yeah, let's look at it.
Okay, hold on. Open it.
Let's open it up here. Where am I? Well, okay, it's the bracha Sim Sholem, right?
I was going to say, is it in Sim?
Yes, the bracha Sim Sholem in my set is the second line. Borcheinu Ovinu Kolanu. Bless us, our Father, all of us, Ke'echad, as one, Be'or Ponecha, in the light of your face.
Okay.
And that's what we've been explaining. When we behave in a unified way, unified, meaning Ahavas Yisroael L'kulanu, to all of us, regardless of the external differences amongst us, and we behave in a way which is caused by our focus on the Nefesh Elokis, which has a singular root up above, Ke'echad, then He will bless us, Ke'echad, He will bring us together as one in the light of His raining down His panemius. You could go further, because this is more in the bracha, in the light of your face, or in the light of your panemius, Nesato lonu alakenu Torah's chayim. You've given us a Torah of life and Ahavas Chesed and Tzedakah, v'hula, etc., etc. All good things. Ultimately, the good thing, the Geula Shlema, comes from this. Okay?
Thanks.
Yeah.
It says be'echad, so it means achdus, right? That's what we're talking about.
Achdus k'peshuta. Simple.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. We have to do it. If we do it, it will come. Any other comments or questions? So, ubechein, therefore, I guess all I can say is let's do it. Let's look at people and really everything, even the dirt, has it couldn't exist without a spark of God within it. So let's get used to trying to get a feel for that in our relationships with everything. The way we, the sensitivity we have to how do we treat a piece of china? How do we treat another person? But here is particularly, let me not digress, focusing on the person. Because the person, we all wind up and have come from and are still lodged. You've used this expression before, to restore the soul to the place, meaning the awareness that it had before it came down into the body. And that place before it came down into the body was Malchus of Atzilus, if not higher, and bring that sense of, and that knowledge into the way we behave in our daily life.
And this really sort of sums up the Rebbe's whole mission, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
The Chabad, right?
Not Chabad of the Torah.
No, but Chabad is what the Rebbe, when you're...
Listen, I'm just playing with you. Of course, the Rebbe is the one who made all this stuff widely known. But the source that he used, let's say the famous quote. Wait a minute, let me finish. This famous quote that Hashem wants a dwelling place in the lower worlds, right? And that's the Beis HaMikdash, and that's the Mikdash Ma'at in each and every person. The source of that is not Chabad. The source of that is Midrashim. Chabad is explaining and opening up the world that's always been there in the Torah so that we can take it the way it needs to be done.
Now being here, I'm beginning to see a beginning portion. So before the Milchama, there was a lot of divisiveness. And then right after October 7th, everybody sort of came together. And now I'm beginning to hear the grumblings of the same type of divisiveness on a different level. So it all comes down to whether or not we can get to that point of Achdus and Ahavas Yisroael, which is everything that the Rebbe had talked about. His whole mission, everything, was to see that Pintel Yid in everybody. And it's difficult.
Correct. Of course it's difficult. That's why it's called avoida. Rosa.
Yeah,
Rosa,
on a practical level, if you want to bring blessing into your day and into your life practically, so if you do something for Shalom, even if you forgive something that's not so hard to forgive, but just forgive something and increase Shalom in the world, then you fill that floor, because it said that flaw, because it says here that Hashem's presence cannot rest where there is a brokenness, gap, asar pegim.
Right.
So when you overcome that in your own life, then you bring Hashem's blessing into your life.
Correct. And when you bring your blessing into your life, you're affecting it at its source, right? The Rambam, famous expression of the Rambam, that any one mitzvah could be the thing that makes everything different. Okay, any other comments or questions? So therefore, well, we're going to try it, right? We're going to wait, and we're all going to have opportunities, I'm sure, in this day to look at the panemius of the encounter, the godliness that's invested in the encounter, no matter what it looks like on the outside. And anybody else want to offer anything more specific or different than that? I'm happy.
No, I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Alter Rebbe. I mean, it's all here. It's just unbelievable. I mean, to me, that's why. I mean, I think I told you guys that what really the first thing that grabbed me on the way in search of whatever I was in search for was this book. It just put it like all together, because it's all here, and the rest is Perusha. All the rest of Hasidus that devolves from it is really, it's part of the Masorah, the chain of given overness of what's here in the Tanya, which we remember when we introduced it. The Tanya is called the Torah Shebesav of Hasidus, the written Torah of Hasidus. It's all there. It's all here. And we have been blessed with the opportunity to be able to learn it together and see it.
Yeah, I guess I want to say gratitude to the Rebbe who made us do chitas, like it really
Yes.
changed your life.
Oh, chitas, yes. Very much changed everybody's life. Yeah. Okay. Mitzvah Hashem, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.